Oh, can I tell you this? That when
Yeah.
my very first job, not many people know this, my very first job, I started in radio by the time I was 16. But before my radio job, I was working for a vacuum cleaner company, like called Deluxe. And my job was to call people all day long to ask them if they would allow us to come into their homes for a Deluxe vacuum cleaner demonstration. And I can't tell you the number of people that hung up on me in those early days. So I used to have this sort of like fear about it. And then I developed a way of like, well, if they hang up, that means I spent less time with somebody who didn't want to hear me and gives me more time for the next person who does want to hear me. So that's how I'm looking at it.
So I get a little bit anxious. What is this person going to say when I say my name? What are they going to say when I make the pitch to, get a plan to vote? These are not the most rational anxieties or fears, but I have them nonetheless. And I know a lot of other people do who tell me that they're anxious about making calls. But Oprah, when I finish a shift, I feel so fulfilled. I now have agency in the midst of what otherwise is just a mess. I have function, I have purpose, and I'm not a bystander. I'm not a witness. I'm not in the audience. I'm in the game. And I think that this, for so many of us, is the antidote to despair. And the key to winning is to be making these phone calls. And I think in part because they're so hard, they can be so hard, they are so fulfilling. But I'm going to take your advice from your experience selling the vacuum cleaners and apply that to my phone banking from now on. And I know I'm going to be more successful. There are so many people who are tuned in to make phone calls, again, in large part because they knew they were going to hear from you. And so I just wanted to give you a chance to address all these volunteers who are about to go out there and hit the phones for a couple of hours. And we're already at 950,000 phone calls made. So we'll clear 1 million in this shift, thanks to Oprah Winfrey. And so, and thanks to these volunteers who came out for you. So I don't know if you have a message for them.
My message is deep, deep, deep gratitude and appreciation. And, every person comes to the planet with something that they alone can offer. And that offering comes in as multitude of ways as there are people. And you're volunteering here today. You're saying, yes, I will do what I can in this moment. Yes, I will have agency. Yes, I won't sit back and just complain about how terrible things are. Yes, I will do what I can to move us forward. It's a blessing. It's a blessing and a gift to our nation. And I want to thank you for it. And I'm going to stay on and listen to what the rules are for the phone calls, because I'm going to try some phone calls too. Normally when I call people cold, I have to spend, 3 minutes explaining, yes, it really is me. It's not your cousin making the Yes. What can I say? What I can say, we'll be back in a moment. Do I sound like myself? But, so I'm going to stay on and listen for what the rules are. And is there a time limit? Are we supposed to stay on for a certain amount of time? Give yourself a certain amount of time, or
as long as you want. And I mean that so sincerely. All we're asking folks to do is to make a plan to vote tomorrow or sometime during early voting. So simple. And so many of the phone calls I've made today have been so positive. Folks are glad we called. They didn't know that early voting started tomorrow, or it was a reminder to make a plan. Good. So these are easier than selling vacuum cleaners. I promise. These are going to be
easier
fun.
than selling vacuum cleaners.
Yeah. Thank you for joining us, Oprah. We just cannot thank you enough. This made our year. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Power by the people.
Let's do it.